of motorists have hit the roads for their summer holiday destinations around the country. And as usual, the N3 has already seen traffic volumes pick up considerably. The N3 Toll Concession manages a 415-kilometer section of the N3 transport corridor known as the N3 toll route between Cedara in KwaZulu-Natal and Heidelberg in Gauteng. On the line now to talk to us is the N3 Toll Concession's commercial manager, Roux. A very good morning to you, Con. Thank you very much for joining us on SABC News.
Thank you so much, Claire. Good to be with you.
All right, take us through what to expect on the N3 as, of course, this weekend starts to pick up in terms of traffic volumes.
Well, it's interesting that while we currently have busy conditions on the N3, we have 1,500 vehicles an hour heading southbound, in other words, towards Durban through the Moy Plaza. So it's busy, but up north, vehicles heading south through to Hook Plaza has already started to taper off. So clearly we're seeing a reduced volume of traffic of holidaymakers heading down to the coast, and we're attributing this to poor economic times.
All right, so, I mean, we know that we've had rather wet conditions and the weather hasn't been so great. Has it greatly affected that stretch of road?
No, the weather conditions haven't affected us greatly. I was very interested in the conversation you had regarding the weather. And maybe a statistic that I'd like to highlight is that crashes on the N3 toll route from January to October of this year, no less than 82% of those crashes occurred in clear weather conditions. So while we absolutely endorse heightened awareness during times of inclement weather such as fog patches or rain, but please to the motorists, do not think that because the weather is clear that it's necessarily safe to drive. It may be the exact opposite, and our statistics tell us that.
Now, Con, that's a very interesting one that you tell us there. So on the back of that then, which areas are sort of most prone to accidents on that stretch of road? If you can just remind us. I mean, there's the typical hot spots, but perhaps you can take us through those areas that, we should be watching for if we're traveling on that route.
Again, there's a bit of an anomaly here. Everybody knows about Van Rieenen, but we actually don't experience that high a number of crashes there, and I attribute that to motorists paying more attention to the road. We actually see crashes occurring across the entire road, and maybe just to point out another statistic that is of invaluable importance, and that's more than 60% of crashes on our N3 toll route between January and October were single vehicle crashes, often at fairly random, straight, well-engineered pieces of road. So this points more to the fact that human error plays the major role in crashes, and that we attribute to issues like failure to pay attention, distraction, for instance, due to cell phones and so on. So the bottom line is, wherever you are on the road, whatever the weather conditions, give your undivided attention to the dangerous activity of driving a motor vehicle.
Yeah, Con, this is an unavoidable problem, but I want us to take a look at, the truckers. Firstly, how are you managing the truck volumes on the N3, and how problematic are, truck drivers on our roads? I mean, we hear a lot of scary stories, of truck drivers, sometimes falling asleep behind the wheel. How big is the issue of truck drivers?
Trucks constitute between 30 and 35% normally of the volume of traffic on the N3 toll route. In other words, more than 1 out of 3 vehicles on that route is a truck. So sharing the road responsibly between truck and light motor vehicles is of absolutely a paramount importance. And I also want to stress that while truck drivers often are criticized, there's every reason also to criticize light motor vehicle drivers who do dangerous things such as just cutting in front of a truck or who fail to adjust their speed and drive into the back of the truck and so on.
Yeah.
So I don't want to necessarily single out truck drivers. Fatigue does play a massive role, and we believe that truck drivers often do carry out more trips than they should. We have recently seen a bit of a spike in crashes amongst trucks, and we believe that this is the reason. That the reason for that is that truck drivers are being pushed too hard at this time of the year to carry out their deliveries, to stock the shops and so on. So bottom line again, to all motorists, please just share the road responsibly. Be aware of the limitations of trucks. Also give a measure of appreciation to truck drivers who are working now while the rest of us are on holiday.
Yeah, you've already given some advice there, some great advice there to our motorists. Your most important message then to motorists, especially those who will be heading out onto the N3 then?
Our most important message this Christmas season is to drive courteously and considerately. I think that the attitude of drivers is of fundamental importance, and unless and until we change our attitude towards driving, we're going to continue to see crashes.
All right, Mr. Roux, thank you so very much for speaking to us. That's the N3 Toll Concessions Commercial Manager, Mr. Roux. And now to give us sort of overview of the traffic situation in Johannesburg, let's welcome Metro Police Senior Superintendent Wayne Minnaar. Mr. Minnaar, thank you so very much for joining us here on the agenda on SABC News.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Now, please take us through what to expect on our roads, particularly this long weekend, as Joburgers sort of head out, whether it be to the coastal areas or up north.
Yes, no, we can expect volumes increasing today with many motorists taking their way out of Johannesburg, and we want to caution motorists to obey the rules of the road. Last night there were two operations, drunken driving operations. One was on the freeway where 19 drunken drivers were arrested, and in the Johannesburg CBD, 23 more were arrested. So that's not a good sign. We're still having too many drivers taking the chance of having a drink and then still driving afterwards.
Are we expecting to see very high presence of JMPD on our roads now during the festive season?
Yes, the plan is to have officers every 15 kilometers. So every 15 kilometers on the Mike 1 from the Johannesburg CBD going through onto the N1 to the northern side of Johannesburg for vehicles leaving the province. And then we also want to focus on the N3. As we know, there's a lot of traffic likely to be using the N3 going to KZN. We also want to deploy officers on the N12 freeway, because from the N12 they branch south towards the Free State or to the Northwest Province and the Northern Cape.
What's your biggest concern as JMPD during the festive season?
Yes, the public vehicles, public transport vehicles, particularly leaving from the Johannesburg CBD, which are overloaded. That's a concern, because if the vehicles are overloaded, it places a lot of pressure on the braking system. It places extra pressure on the tires of the vehicle, so there's the possibility of tire burst. But we've got officers, particularly from Braamfontein and the Smith Street on-ramp, monitoring the Mike 1 North, and any of the vehicles which are overloaded are going to have to readjust their load and have another vehicle transport the load.
Now, Mr. Minnaar, we've been experiencing quite high, heavy rains really during this December, which is, quite unusual. We've had really strange weather conditions this December. What's been the biggest problem as a result of the sort of strange weather patterns which have then sort of affected JMPD's work?
Yes, I think many motorists not adjusting to driving in the rain, because there is a difference to driving on a wet road as compared to a road which is dry. When a road is wet, there's a lot of water and it causes the road surface to be slippery. So one needs more time and distance to brake and to stop a vehicle, because harsh braking will cause a vehicle to skid easily, and that's when we have the accidents. We have a spike in accidents this past week because of drivers braking harshly and having vehicles skid out of control.
All right, Mr. Minnaar, thank you as always for chatting to us here on SABC News. That's Wayne Minnaar, spokesperson there of JMPT. All right, let's move on then. We're going to take a short break. Do stay with us.